lifestyle stuff when you had a more stressful week?
Um, I only thing is I didn't prep as well as I had the other weeks, so I caught myself in the morning trying to rush around and do everything because before I was doing everything in the evenings. Well, this week, some of the nights, not every one, I've gone home and just I'm like done. Don't want to do anything. So I eat, fix my meal, and then I'm out of the kitchen. So gotta get prepared before because Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday will be my super bad days. So it's gonna be interesting because I won't have my bag of goldfish in my door.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
you're thinking about it. It's good that you're thinking ahead though, and you know which days are going to be stressful and more difficult.
Yeah, they're long days for me, long hours. So I'll probably eat all 3 meals here. So it happens. But I've actually been walking at lunchtime, so that's made a difference. So
well, what would be helpful to talk about today, Cindy? Is there anything from us that we can support you with?
No, I mean, I briefly got to look at my meal plan for next week, and I am concerned about all the fruit. I'm not a fruit person, so I'm like, can I do all the? I know I can't eat watermelon, and I noticed that was with cucumbers. Watermelon, I can't say I dump like I did years ago, but watermelon gets to my head, so I might only have a bite. So I can't do watermelon, so I'll have to. And I'm not a melon fan, so. I can eat berries with no problems, but that's about half of a banana. But other than that, I really don't do fruit at all.
How are things like apples and pears? Do those go okay?
A pear probably would. Apples is a small one or half of one is fine. I just went apple picking, so I have a lot of apples. So I need to eat some of those, but I don't eat a lot of them. So
yeah,
I've always limited myself.
I was going to say, you know, when we created that meal plan, it was May.
Yeah.
And so seasonally, right, there's a change here. So don't feel, and anybody who's listening to this, don't feel like you have to buy the exact fruit on the menu, especially if it is grown halfway across the world and it's ripe anyway, right?
Right.
I have a 5-year-old and the girl loves blueberries. Sure, because we picked them straight from the tree or the bush. And then we go to the grocery store. She's like, Mom, I want blueberries. And she brings them home. And now she hates blueberries because she had some unripe blueberries.
Right. You taste the difference.
You taste the difference big time. So if you have apples, little apples, pears are coming in or kind of finishing, but pears also keep really well. And that's nice too. And then, you know, you could also get frozen berries, you know.
That's my go-to is frozen blueberries and strawberries. Raspberries sometimes, but I don't venture into a lot of fruit. I did a couple weeks ago. Remember, we had navel oranges, so that was a delight. I was good with that. I got small ones, and that was a treat.
Yeah,
to have that. But certain fruits really affect me, and others do not. So I stay away from the ones I know I can't eat.
Yeah, that's exactly the art of the personal journey, right? You have to just kind of lean into what works for you.
Yeah. What was something good that happened to you this last week, or something that you tried that you ate that you really liked?
Tofu, because last week when we had the tofu salad, I'd never ate it. I don't remember what happened that night, but I had to substitute it for something else. I don't remember at this point. So last night it came up on the menu again. So I was really surprised. I followed the recipe to the T because I was like, okay, you got to squish it. And I really enjoyed it. So that's been my new thing this week. Every week I found something new on the menu that I didn't know that I would enjoy. So I picked up fermented carrots this week at the store.
That makes me so happy.
Today in my little lunch was the chicken and the quinoa, and I think you were supposed to have carrot sticks. Well, I put the fermented carrot sticks in there. So I just did little things like that. So that I can't say that they were wonderful. It could have been just this brand had a little bit different taste, but I ate them. I mean, it wasn't something that I would never eat again. So now it's funny because everywhere I go, I'm always looking for what can I find fermented? What is, can I look around? So I think I've probably hit every store multiple times looking for different things. So that's been interesting.
That's so exciting that you've been trying all this new stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, even
Yeah.
if you don't like it, that's okay. You tried something new.
Right. Well, I remember one of you said told your kids you got to try things a couple times. So, like the fermented carrots, I will try them a couple times. If I don't grow to like that, I know that this brand had this taste. Maybe if I find it by another person, maybe it would taste different. So, because I have found that with the sauerkrauts, I found 2 different brands, and they really do taste different. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
Caraway seems to be my favorite thing that's added to different cabbages and different krauts that you get a really I don't know, a flavor that I like. As it's like a little seed. It's almost like, I don't know, fennel and mustard had a baby. Like that's how I would describe caraway, but it's pretty refreshing.
Yeah, that's the one I have this week. It's garlic and caraway sauerkraut. I think is the one. So, but everything's gone good. I mean, I just keep following it. I've lost weight, so it's really surprised me.
I was gonna say we're 4 weeks in. Like, what's the weight loss result?
I've got 12 pounds down, so I'm completely shocked. Yeah, so because I couldn't get anything to budge at all. So for me, but the difference in me is truly my energy. I feel totally different. So of course I was having a lot of issues. So it has really straightened everything out. When I get home, though I had a bad night this week, I'm not normally just, I don't feel like doing anything. So throughout the day here at work, I'm just all over the place. I'm walking every day at lunchtime and on a break. So just things that I didn't do before I've incorporated because I feel so much better. So for me, that's what's made a big difference. Yep. That's good.
I'm so happy to hear that. Was to just kind of change a little bit, was there anything this last week that you found that you struggled with or that was difficult?
For me, it was just because I wasn't mentally prepared by not meal prepping in the evening like I need to do, because I leave my house 6:30 in the morning. I need to have everything ready, because if I don't, I wake up and I'm rushing around. So for me, it was just mentally, I need to stay on top of it to make sure I'm prepared for the next day.
Yeah, feel better and
that
less stressed.
Exactly, because you have to get up in the morning, you got to struggle, run around. I don't have kids in the house or anything, but you still got to get up and do all this.
You just described my weekly struggle. There must be something going on with the cosmos because I felt it too. I did. Things got busy this week.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. If you don't take the time, or if you don't create the time, or again, maybe it's just the energy of the time. That's okay.
Right.
You know, like you said, you kind of know when your busy times are going to come, which brings me to a suggestion. If you guys are open to the suggestion, if your work does ebb and flow, and or like you said with accounting, you kind of know the end and the beginning of the month are always like your busiest weeks. Right. It's not a bad idea, especially going into winter, to maybe prepare some soup over the weekend and freeze it to where all you have to do is just kind of pull it out of the freezer and now you instantly have a dinner and that's healthy, prepared, kind of ready to go. And again, you don't have to. Here's the other thing. We made this meal plan and it's wonderful and you guys are following it. You know, some nights when life gets really busy and you got a meeting, you know, let's talk about what does takeout look like? You know, what are those options? What, you know, again, the idea here is that you use us to learn how to make this a lifestyle change that is healthier, more vibrant, more energetic, more balanced, more planned, more prepared. But you're definitely going to have weeks like this last week.
Right. So trying to figure out, I'm trying to stick to it as close as I can, but you know, like last night, I'm like, oh, now I got to cook the quinoa for tomorrow because I don't have any in the refrigerator. Had I done this like I did the first week and had things ready, it would be different. So, but the frozen meals are definitely a good deal. And even chicken, like have chicken, but I can only cook it 2 days in advance because I have this thing about chicken. But yeah, that's a good idea. I've got to figure out the soup thing. I have a problem with soup because it's liquid and a solid, and I'm mentally, I'm always thinking I don't.
So if you make it really, really thick, that makes that. If it's like chicken noodle soup, it's like, yeah, that's eating and drinking, but like a thick kind of hearty, like bean and meat stew or chili or whatever you like, that's fine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, right, in the fall, because all the squashes are seasonally available. You take like a butternut squash or any kind of squash, you microwave it for a little bit. I heard you can even put a whole squash in an Instant Pot and it comes out perfectly cooked. I haven't tried that yet. But you scoop it out, you throw it into your soup stock, you puree it, you blitz it, immersion blender, and now you get a really thick kind of creamy thing. I always like to put a little bit of I bake a little bacon and crumble a little bit of bacon on top, little dollop of cheese or something, little jalapeno oil, like.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's good to know that my husband he's enjoying the food as well. Not every night does he want it, but for me, it's working easier because we fix for both of us together. So he had to have pizza one night this week, but it didn't tempt me. So I was very
good for you.
He had it. He felt guilty because he really wanted it. I said, I had no desire to eat it. So that was a good change.
Yeah.
Normally I'd have that one slice and it'd be miserable afterwards. So that was nice.
Yeah. Does that upset your stomach normally?
Yeah. It's wonderful eating, but I can't do it. The crust is too filling. And then afterwards I'm in pain. So I think
it's going down, but then it's not good.
Yeah, not good as much as and I have sometimes just eaten the toppings and the sauce if I had a lot of willpower and just wanted that taste. So that works sometimes too.
Well, maybe that's an opportunity for you guys. If you like pizza, maybe finding a pizza recipe that's the alternative way to make it so that you can enjoy it without feeling sick. So maybe different crusts. I've seen people make it. There's not just cauliflower. I've seen people use chicken. Chicken crust is something they've done that people with a bypass feel like they can eat more comfortably. But that might be, I don't know if we lost Cindy.
You're back.
Cindy's back.
Oh,
so the sort of overall goal that I would always want someone to shoot for is that you eat healthy because it makes you feel really good. But then you also find ways to enjoy food so that you're enjoying your life. And if you and your husband like pizza, but you don't want to feel sick, that maybe just so you know that you have permission, like it's okay to like have a pizza night and make something different.
Right. It's good. We laugh because we have a grandchild with celiac disease. So when she comes to visit, we have to fix. It's just comical, when they come. So that's what we have felt like in our house recently, just because we're fixing so many different meals. It's like our visits with our daughter and granddaughter, because everything's got to be separate. You got to do so much prepping and making sure. So it's a very interesting concept it's easier if we eat the same. And that's what I keep telling him. So he's going for it most nights.
Just this last week, because all the tomatoes in my garden, I'm pulling them all in before they start cracking. But I made sort of my own mashed kind of potato or pizza tomato sauce in the pan with all the oregano and the basil, and then shredded cheese with it, and then put it over the top of baked cauliflower.
Oh, that would be interesting.
So again, you get all the cheese, you get all the pizza sauce, you get all those flavors. And it really is the cheese that ignites our pizza dopamine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
Jesus, it's heaven.
Yeah, I don't need the meats. I just want the vegetables and the cheese and that little bit of that taste of the sauce. And that's all I need. So.
Yeah, it really is that kind of nostalgic kind of pizza flavor. Well, that's good. Cindy, I'm so tickled for you. 12 pounds.
Yeah. So it's been, I really drinking a lot of water too. So I don't know if it's just the combination of everything.
Yes.
Now I just need to keep moving more.
Yeah.
And then I think it'll even come more. So, I mean, that wasn't my goal for me. It was just trying to figure out a different way to eat for my system, because it is jacked up, or it was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now it feels different.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of how I try to, I try not to make any promises about weight loss because it's such an individual journey. And also it's always contingent upon what your body wants to let go. Like I have no way to calculate your energy expenditure and pretend I know exactly how I'm going to get you an energy deficit. You can't exercise 2,000 calories or starve yourself 2,000 calories and expect 1 pound of weight loss. Like that math never works. But your experience of just taking care of yourself, one foot in front of the other, listening, being open, and observing the side effect of taking care of yourself, that's exactly what I tell people. I can promise you that. I can promise you will witness the side effect, the benefit. So good job.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way of eating and something I would have never done. So it is to implement these foods that have helped so much. Like this is totally different feeling.
Every time you eat something new, mentally, if you care, I do. This is what ignites me as a human. But every time you eat something new, imagine you're feeding entirely new beneficial species of gut bacteria. Tofu feeds something different than sauerkraut. That caraway and garlic feeds something different than fennel and dill. So like every time you eat a new plant-based thing, quinoa, farro, freekeh, wheat berries, bulgur. I mean, there's so many different grains out there. So you can, as you start to expand your awareness to this sort of like way of life, think about, okay, what's something new I can try this week? And like really kind of weave it in. You kind of get the gist where the meals are kind of constructed the same. There's always some sort of whole grain. There's always some sort of high protein, whether it's a plant-based protein or not. There's always some fermented food. And there's a combination of vegetables, of flavors that allow you to experience them in their native form.
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting concept to think about the foods though. Feeding different ways, because that's when I've looked at it, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can eat this, but I'm gonna try it because it's new. And then I find that I absolutely love it. So my search is on for more food, like fermented carrots.
There you go.
So more things that I can find or make myself as I get more time. So it'll work out that way.
Yeah.
Interesting. With all the grains and things, again, in my head, I'm thinking I shouldn't be eating this. And I really I have to tell myself it's okay to eat it, because I mean, it's been 17 years for me. So for majority of this time, I have stayed away from so many carbs and so many things from fruit that to add things back in, I'm cautious. Just like trying to find the yogurt the other day, and I couldn't find the Greek yogurt for Nancy's, but I found the other one. But I kept looking at that going, it seems like so much sugar. Is this right? But I've eaten it all week and it's good. So
good.
Yeah, isn't that so true? It's definitely something, a myth we've been fed for the last couple decades, I feel like, is not eating carbohydrates. And then we find as soon as you start eating them, people start losing weight and they feel good. They're feeling better.
I'm a prime example of somebody who long-term has tried not to eat them or eaten very little. And then when I do get sick, but that's because I had other things going on. But now that I'm eating them, the weight's just falling off. I do think I'm eating a lot more than what I was eating before, or whole foods, good foods. And I think that has made a difference also. Like you suggested, I did have to go split. I went back and split my meals up, and it's much easier. Like this week we had the salmon salad with the lettuce, and that salmon was just so filling for me. I had to wait, I think it was like 2.5 and 3 hours, the 2 different days, to eat the other half of it. I mean, I was full. So it's just the different types of foods. I made mine into a salad instead of just eating the lettuce, because that's messy to eat at work, but it worked.
Yeah.
Did you think
Go ahead.
I said I'm definitely eating more food than I was, and because it's good food, I guess is why I'm eating a lot.
My mom says that every time she comes to visit me, she's like, I feel like we're always eating, and yet I always lose weight when I come visit you. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I'm feeding you good stuff. I'm like, it's different than, the hamburger helper.
Or just different than eating a hamburger with French fries. Because if I was fixing that for my husband or my children were visiting or something, and I'd just sit there and eat it all with them instead of making my meals and taking the time to make mine separately. So that's made a big difference, just taking the time for me. And that's what I told them. I've got to do this. They just have to chip in and help if they want something different. So it's worked.
That's also a testament to, boundaries, self-worth, self-prioritization. I mean, so many people are people pleasers. And, in order to be bold enough and brave enough to undergo something like bariatric surgery and really want it to be successful, you have to please yourself first. And that's not selfish at all.
I did it for so many years and then I stopped. And look what happened. I gained weight back because I didn't take the time to do what I did in the beginning for so many years. And it worked then. So I just couldn't get myself back to taking the time to do it for myself, which has made the difference. So I'm glad I made the priority for me. And I'm glad that my family, of course, nobody's young anymore. So they understand this concept.
So now you're coming to the end of the meal plans. And what you can do is you have the option to just start them all over again. If you felt like the weight loss was really good and you want to start over again at the first week and redo it, you can do that. Or you can start just pulling recipes that you liked out of it and trying to just incorporate them into your day-to-day life. Either one is okay.
Okay. Yeah, I've got them all in a binder all kept together because that was my plan, is to majority of them to mix them up as far as the days of the week. I think I enjoyed everything. I don't think anything was miserable to me, but it would have to be definitely incorporated around what I can do. But I might do that. Might go back and start it all over again. I feel like I like the structure of having everything. For me, it was easier. And I think that's what I needed.
Yeah.
I have visited another nutritionist I don't think she was really even a nutritionist, but I don't know her credentials, but at the weight loss center local. And I was not pleased with what she said because she just handed me a piece of copied paper with no ideas of what to do. It was the same way I was already eating. So that wasn't going to help me. I needed something entirely different. So that's why this has worked for me. So, and I think it's a lot to do with the mentality and the prepping, getting ready in advance. So
glad you're back, Jackie. I don't want you to think, or Jacqueline, I don't want you to think that we've been ignoring you. We got started with Cindy. We wanted to we'll kind of go one at a time today. So that's just how it's kind of working.
Fine.
Hello.
How have you been doing, Jackie?
I've been okay. I've started to sort of just research vegan options, and then I kind of, if it makes 6 servings, I look at the calorie count, and then I generally cut them in half and try to put some protein with it. Certainly the first week when I followed the diet, I lost weight, but since then I haven't. It's been a struggle because, just trying to, it's also difficult too, because some of the recipes, if I look at it and I've made, for instance, I made Moroccan lentil soup, and you look at it and you go, okay, well, they're saying a serving is 370 calories. Well, how should I divide it? It's a soup. How am I dividing this up? So yeah, it's I don't know. It's I finally figured out. I don't know where I missed the message that you had to get good sauerkraut that was refrigerated.
Yeah.
So I did buy that wild brine stuff, and it's good. I like it.
Really good.
Yeah. And so I'll continue buying that. I found a protein powder that is probiotic,
Nice.
um,
And plant-based.
plant-based. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm slowly getting it. It has been a little frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting the fermentation, and I'm doing that stuff, and I just have to kind of figure out portion sizes and
Mm-hmm.
like get out of my head. Yeah, I think you have to, after you've been a bariatric patient, you have to unlearn a lot of stuff.
You have to unlearn
Yes.
so much. You do.
Macros and micros, and that's just
Mhm.
way too confusing. So,
Mhm.
um,
In the beginning, we entertained the idea of not putting any of the nutritional information on our recipes because we knew that it was gonna like mess with some of your heads if you're like, well, I need this many grams of protein and I need this many calories, and oh, that's too many grams of carbs, and like people just get a little, again, jaded by all the previous information. What I am going to suggest and again, you're starting to practice, you're starting to learn, all the recipes that we do have a lot of plants in them. So make them with all the plants, omit the animal protein. At least you have that as a side, and then you can choose whatever serving of protein plant-based serves you, and you can just eat that separate.
yeah,
So if it's tofu, great, we'll marinate that tofu, squish it out, season it, spice it up, barbecue it. There's all sorts of different things, but do it as its own little side. So you have your little side of like flavored, animal or non-animal plant-based protein that you like, and then you have this other side dish, because then the lentils, the beans, the cabbage, all those herbs and stuff, it's still good as a standalone meal, regardless if you put chicken or salmon or steak on it. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, I think where I've run into problems is with beans and stuff, and tofu. Generally, you mix it in so that it will absorb some of the flavor of the foods. So then you get this mash of food that's not pre-portioned, and so yeah, I mean, I have been making roasted tofu and that kind of thing, but I'm still struggling with trying to make it taste good. I mean, when I ate meat, it was way easier to make things taste good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be making a 7-grain and bean salad, which is
great.
it's really yummy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to figure out, because it's only 4 grams of protein. So, gotta find that protein somewhere and put something in there.
Yeah. So, you might do like half a cup of your bean salad or a cup,
Yeah.
and then pair that with one of those, again, kind of lower calorie controlled, but higher plant-based protein shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, for the goal of weight loss, which I know that is exactly what you wanted weight loss.
Yeah.
I would say just get creative doing that, because from our perspective, you eating plants, many different types of plants, in conjunction with getting your protein goals met, period, that is it, that you're winning. We kind of frown or cringe a little bit. I think I just posted this yesterday or this morning. Actually, you shared this with me. You said you went to your bariatric program, and you were like, they just told me to go back on protein shakes. They told me to like just do that, right? So there can even be a little bit of that mindset shift of, well, I'm not supposed to only drink, my diet, or
Yeah.
But again, for you to really individualize this experience, to really meet your needs. I love your attention to plants. I love that you want that. I mean, that health shines at any size when you eat all the plants. all the beans, all the things, you know, and again, yes, you can be healthy at any size. We believe this is true. For that weight loss goal, you know, be portion controlled with that calorie goal in mind. Again, around 12,000 or 12,000
calories.
You'll be 100 pounds heavier in a month. But you know, 1,200, 1,000 a day. You want to listen to your body. You don't want to go hangry. You don't want to go irritable. You don't want to go painful. You want to be fed. You want to be nourished. And that protein piece is important for your body, but you can get it in many ways. And so I think sometimes the struggle in a lot of vegan eating is that they don't know how to prioritize the protein within their diet. And so they end up filling up on, again, too many carbs, which again, it's this like conundrum, right? There's so many paradoxes in nutrition.
Yeah.
So you want to just show up with the right amount that's satisfying, chewy. I mean, that 7-grain bean salad, that sounds delicious. Another way you could add protein to it is you could get like a feta cheese or something.
I did. We've got this wonderful Greek deli. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, their feta cheese is it's not like store-bought feta cheese.
And even adding like a half a cup of a really delicious Greek yogurt.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, because I knew that I had seen Nancy's at Whole Foods here in the past. It's no longer there.
Bummer.
Yeah, we don't have. I don't know how to pronounce it. Fage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Faye.
I'm sure you have something equivalent though.
Faye is equivalent. I've heard Faye is a good actual probiotic source. Skyr is a good one as well.
We don't have. You see, we've got Liberté.
Okay.
And we've got Oikos.
Yep.
Oikos is good.
And those are the two, I've read the labels, and those are the two that just simply have 2 ingredients. They've got the generally it's skim milk and then the probiotic active culture.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah. And again, if you go the Greek, what they end up doing is they end up straining it.
Yeah.
A lot of the fluid and whey gets removed. And so you just have the protein rich casein.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, yeah, I mean, and I can go a whole week or 2 without eating meat. So I am very familiar with what it's like, but you do have to eat eggs, you know, again. So you could even add a poached or fried egg on top of your lentil salad.
Yeah.
You know, and eggs are wonderful because they have 0 grams of carbohydrate in it.
Yeah.
Sure, there's a little bit of fat, but you're eating the whole egg. So that's the other thing too. The only time I tend to care about fat is when you're trying in these conversations is when you're trying to reach your calorie goal.
Yeah.
Fat is fine. Our bodies need it. Our entire cell membranes are made from it. All of our hormones in our brain is all made of fat. That is going to be fine. It's just when you're trying to monitor your calorie goal, fat is the most energy dense.
Yeah.
So as long as you are, again, within the confines of your calorie goal, get the full fat yogurt is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Faye is what they sell primarily in Greece. So very, very, very Greek.
I wish I could get it here. I used to go regularly down to Bellingham. I would buy it at Trader Joe's because it tastes so good. Yeah.
What you could do as well, if you want to, is you could actually just pull up some type of food tracking app. And then as you are trying your new combinations of food, that will allow you to track more easily how many calories you are getting in a day. And then you can make those micro adjustments for yourself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've done things like, I mean, today I brought half a cup of Greek yogurt. Actually, it was skyr for a snack. See, I love yogurt and I love cottage cheese, and I couldn't find a cottage cheese here that says specifically it had probiotics in it.
Interesting. Yeah, look for cultured, but yeah, on the ingredients.
Cultured. Yeah, I mean, I googled it. Like cottage cheese was brought out of Canada. Not it.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
But maybe it is, and it just, I mean, it has said cultured. So if it says cultured, that means
Cultured. Yeah. It means they added, probiotic cultures to it.
Oh, yeah, they
So,
don't.
yeah. So
see-
cultured is a good word to look for. Fermented.
Yeah.
And then also we're seeing all sorts of new foods come to market. There is a prebiotic, probiotic ice cream.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah. My husband brought it home, and I was actually shocked that my husband had the acumen to pick out something that would, be a healthier alternative. But I mean, literally 1 pint, not that I think you guys probably saw me, but I was like, let's be real. Who hasn't eaten a pint of ice cream in their life?
True.
Definitely have. 310 calories and 19 grams of fiber.
Yeah, and it'll take Canada 10 years to get it. But we
Yeah.
just don't have the population to,
Yeah.
support all the myriad of stuff you have down there.
Yeah. Well, we believe in capitalism.
More stuff.
More stuff, more options, more stuff. But yeah, so again, when you look at the nutrition label, the yogurts that you're buying, they aren't typically going to have prebiotic fiber added to them, which is why I encouraged you on your meal plans, whenever you have plain yogurt, you can mix just a tiny little bit of inulin into it.
You can also mix protein powder into
Mix
it.
protein powder
I mean, you
into
could
it.
mix protein powder into a Greek yogurt and then put the Greek yogurt into your food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The inulin, I don't actually, it's not great for me. I can't do more than about a half a teaspoon before.
So and tell me about your symptoms, if you don't mind.
Well, if I do more than that, and I've been trying to increase it, and it seems, I don't know, like up to 2 teaspoons, and it's like diarrhea, but really immediate, like
Yeah.
horrible, got off the elevator, have to run to my apartment.
Yeah. Okay, so don't do that. Less is more. So there's not necessarily, definitely if you look at population studies, they look at, how many grams of fiber are hunter and gatherer tribal people eating in the middle of Africa, like 100 grams of fiber, but they've been eating that way their whole life. They're digging, they're touching soil, right? They don't have processed food anywhere. Nothing comes in a package. They're constantly foraging for it. You look at Asian communities where the rates of colorectal cancer are practically none. Tons of fiber, and they're also eating many different types of plants, right? You try to look up how to make anything from Thailand, if you guys have ever done this. 50 ingredients in one meal, and it takes you 4 days just to make the first preparatory step. Like, Thai cooking is pretty magical, and a lot of Asian cooking's that way. So us white folk, Western folk, in our capitalism, we're all about convenience. We're all about this. What we know is what we know. Whatever's in the grocery store is fine with us. And so we don't get enough of it. But a little bit goes a long way. And it's more about the diversity.
Yeah.
And again, like what Cindy was just sharing with us, her experience of trying new things, above and beyond. So even like today, bringing that little Greek yogurt, totally fine to add in a little bit of apple, a little bit of pear. Again, think about, you love plants. Lentils, I think lentils and Greek yogurt go perfect together. Salt and pepper, like spice it up. So I love putting egg on plant-based things. I love putting Greek yogurt or lebna. Do you guys remember the lebna from the first week?
Yeah, I can't find that, but we talked about how skyr is kind of close.
Yeah, it's basically a Greek yogurt, but it's in the kefir culture category. So many, many, many different types of it's like kefir cheese. So kefir, which has like 12 or more probiotic strains, it's a multi-strain probiotic, it's just a little more, again, diverse.
So if you were to put kefir in, say, a protein shake, would that be like a win-win?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was I going to ask you about? No, I can't. Just poof. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
For the keepers, do you have to, is it a whole milk or a skim milk, or does it make a difference?
I don't think it makes a difference. So bacteria themselves, as far as we know, they really ferment the carbohydrate. They ferment the fiber.
Mhm.
They have a little role in protein as in terms of what they eat because they're living organisms, but they really love the carbohydrate kind of family of macronutrients. Fat doesn't necessarily seem to be food for them.
Yeah,
So
just be your taste preference.
yeah.
Okay.
It was kombucha I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
I went to a friend's house this week and he gave me raspberry kombucha in a wine glass. It was really quite lovely.
We're drinking cider.
Okay.
Mocktails.
Is kombucha as good as they say it is, as far as?
Yeah, as far as a fermented food goes, it is very good.
It is a spectrum though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So with the kombucha, it's so SCOBY is the name of the probiotic kind of organism that and if you ever make your own, it's called a mother, but you get this big round,
So freaky looking.
gooey. It almost looks like a jellyfish.
It's freaky.
And the traditional thing is it can live in black tea.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, and black tea is, something that you wouldn't think something could live in and grow on.
no.
So then this creature, this SCOBY creature, SCOBY, SCOB, it's an acronym that stands for symbiotic collection or community of beneficial something. But it's a bacteria. So it's again a multi-strain thing. The other thing that's kind of unique about it is it also has yeasts in it, beneficial yeasts. So Saccharomyces boulardii is oftentimes a clinical probiotic pill. The Saccharomyces also lives with the other probiotic organisms.
Okay.
And what's interesting with that is it's black tea. You feed it straight cane sugar
Oh,
to feed the bacteria, to feed the Saccharomyces.
that doesn't sound good.
Well, but again, it's not about you eating the sugar. It's about you keeping these organisms alive as a
Mhm.
caretaker for this and then drinking what they ferment.
Mhm.
So the bacteria eat the sugar and then they make something.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
there's a little sugar in it, and sometimes there's a lot of sugar in
But
it.
yeah, and that's the spectrum is sometimes these companies like they add a ton of sugar on top of it to try to cover up that fermented taste.
Right? The taste
Yeah,
of like the pickled carrots that Cindy was just talking about. There's, that almost off taste that we have grown so accustomed to having everything pasteurized.
Mhm.
But this is really, it's okay. So it might taste a little sour, it might taste a little pungent,
Mhm.
it might have a little bite to it.
And it
You
did,
don't
yeah.
want it so sweet, but so certain brands are less healthy than others based on how much added sugar they put in. So, but I do think kombucha is healthy. So in America, they'll sell you. I have some in my fridge right now. Okay, let's do a little demonstration.
And then if you feel like kombucha's got a really strong taste to it, there's another type of drink called kefir water. And kefir water can be very low calorie. It's not very carbonated. If you have a Trader Joe's around, they do sell kefir water at Trader Joe's.
Oh, I wish we did.
I know. I'm
There was
so sorry,
actually a
Jackie.
person in Vancouver. This is just funny.
So this is my favorite
Yeah, that one's good.
brand of kombucha, and it was
Not
one of
bad.
the first commercial one, GT's.
Because it's got the little, it's got the, what is that thing on the
It's almost like a lotus flower, but it's like head on.
Yeah.
So what I love about them is they're very low in the added sugar department. So this is a more traditional kombucha. This flavor, which is my favorite, it's called Trilogy. It is green tea, black tea, a splash of kiwi juice, a splash of raspberry juice, a splash of lemon juice, and a little bit of ginger. And again, it really is just like
Mhm.
fresh pressed. Like you could tell they just pressed into the tea. One whole bottle is 50
Yeah,
calories,
that's nothing.
Yeah.
and you only need an ounce.
Yeah, I find.
This will last you 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So sipping it through the day, like just a little.
Just add a little shot to your water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Mm.
make yourself a little mocktail at night. Pour it in a
Mocktail.
wine glass and just sip on it.
Yeah. I kind of like that actually, because yeah.
And even if you were to get something with more sugar in it, you could easily dilute it. You could
Yeah.
easily add a little water to it. You could, so it is a fantastic product. I just think I have to always warn our American Western people that you don't need to drink this. This isn't a serving.
You're right. Yeah. There used to be a guy in Vancouver who opened a store to just import Trader Joe's stuff. He'd go down to Bellingham and buy a ton and fill his van. And he opened a little storefront, but Trader Joe's shut him down.
I wonder why.
But all the Vancouverites were like, no.
Trader Joe's contraband.
Yeah. Well, for a while we couldn't get Kinder eggs down here.
Oh
Yeah.
no Kinder eggs.
I know.
What are
Well,
Kinder eggs?
it's like a little chocolate shell, and on the inside is like a surprise. So it's called a Kinder
Oh.
Surprise. Yeah, they were like illegal, and
Oh.
I think people were drug trafficking with them. But
Oh really? My daughter used to get those all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was so exciting.
so exciting. It's like really waxy shell chocolate, not good. and then
Interesting.
a
Okay.
little surprise on the inside.
It's really big with the Danish community up here. Kinder, I don't know, so.
Oh. Well, Jackie, I appreciate you. You show up every week. And I know that this hasn't been the easiest thing for you, but I really admire your vulnerability and patience, right? So it's something I've always struggled with, even just being a doctor in my clinical practice, is watching people not thrive, or not get the result that Cindy's having an easy time or easier time or whatever. So I really appreciate your willingness to be really open to our suggestions and to kind of keep trying here, right? This is an endurance event.
Mhm.
Even though we signed up for 6 weeks of,
Yeah.
more intensive coaching like this, it's an endurance event. And so we have 2 more sessions coming up.
Mhm.
After this 4th week, the last 2 weeks of the meal plan are open. We intentionally left it open so that you could continue to have our guidance and support in how you want to meal plan, how you want to incorporate things. I think we did a good job kind of talking about that today. The other thing I'm curious about is, can we get testimonials from you guys? I'll email you and just ask you for your input. Anything that you've noticed that has changed for the better. Definitely we're open for feedback and improvement. I told you, Jackie, we are working on a 1-week
Mhm.
plant-based meal plan, and we'll be happy to share that with you as soon as we get it completed. We're trying to make it extra good. And the other thing is, what else? Oh, just for you to start wrapping your brain around. So we have started a membership program, and basically the 3rd Friday of every month, and maintained access in the Facebook group. So you can always, again, get that, hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, is this going to work, et cetera. We're more than happy to keep that going. And then the 3rd Friday of every month, again, more live group call support. And I think we have 3 or 4 women from the first cohort doing that. And they're getting a lot out of it. And I love it because I've noticed Erin Smith on the, I don't know what her last name is on Facebook, but anyway, she's been a wonderful wealth of support. So anytime any one of you guys post something, she's like right there to back you up. And Cindy, honestly, she had a very similar story to yours in terms of her ability to feel more energy, the gut health stuff after Roux-en-Y getting better, and then also had really good weight loss results. So it is very exciting for me to continue to offer the support for you guys and kind of keep this community going, because we know that we are unique in terms of the bariatric side of things, right? We're telling you to eat carbs, we're telling you to eat fruit, we're telling you to eat more plants. And Jackie, we're going to get you there. So all those things are going to kind of be sort of offered to you or kind of rolling out as we get closer to the end.
Okay.
All right, good. With anything, here, I wanted to have an exercise. Okay, I want us to just take a little minute and like kind of pause and maybe take some deep breaths, and in your heart, think of one word that sort of encompasses how you're feeling right now. And I'll start. Okay, now I don't know how I'm feeling. I would say I feel eager. Like I have a lot of eagerness in me today. Yeah, just one word, eager.
I'll go, I feel hopeful.
Boy, I don't want to bring the mood down.
How are you feeling?
I have a lot of emotions right now because I'm in this office all alone talking to you. I feel I'm happy and excited and curious. But when I walk through that door back to that accounting office with 50 people sitting there, I'm going to be bombarded with work. So I'm going to change. But right now I feel good. So I think I'm curious. I'm love what I'm learning. Not only the new foods, but my body has changed so much in the past few weeks. So I think I'm curious. Now carry out there because I need to be curious and dig into my books today too and get them all closed. So yeah.
Well, I am feeling a little overwhelmed because I am pregnant and I have a lot of morning sickness right now. I'm like trying to feel. I'm like, yeah, guys.
She's hit it so well. She's been first trimester for the last 3 months.
Are you out of your first trimester?
I'm in my second now. The morning sickness is just starting to taper down, but it's been pretty intense.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well,
This is
Yes.
exciting.
Congratulations. What an adventure.
Yeah.
It really
Biggest
is.
one of your life, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing time with us today, and let's be curious and hopeful and eager
and less morning sick.
Less morning sickness.
Yes, I'll hope for that for you.
May everybody get the rest they need this weekend and the freedom to plan.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too.